Hey guys, welcome back to the Chaos Club. On this episode I make a new turbo oil drain, I address a few heat issues, I install a locker in the diff, and then immediately after, shit hits the fan. Because as I said, she got properly hot in here. That's only plastic, you gotta expect that, but she's barely melted. Nylon's all gone off that. I even nearly melted my Nolithan engine mounts. So she was toasty. But anyway, it's a good opportunity to tidy a few things up. Now I know it all works. I'll give it a good wrap up and be good to go. So my braided drain, gonna get rid of that like I should have done to start off with. I'm down to the hardware this morning. Got a bit of aluminium tube here. It was like $8. I don't know, they have a heap of different stuff in the hardware sometimes. Must be for curtain rails or God knows what people use it for. Gonna bend this up, weld some fittings on, and that should get me out of trouble. Rightio, so I got my turbo and the manifold and that sitting back on there so I can see where my drain needs to go. Got me a bit of drain from the hardware, bit of aluminium tube. Got me bending spring for when I'm putting in air conditioners. These come from Reese or Plumbing Supplies or whatever. Any different one, I think. Just happens to fit this aluminium pipe just beautifully. It's nice and soft, so I reckon I should be able to bend this really nicely. I'll give this a crack, now I know where I'm heading.
Pretty dramatic. So, I mean, we just heard from Brad whose wedding got lost on his honeymoon. But don't worry, Jeff from
Rightio, there it is. So I just got to weld that up now. I just drilled those bungs out to help me line it all up. Doesn't quite bend quite as nicely as the soft drawn copper, but it's probably what happens when you make a pipe in 40 seconds. It'd come up pretty good, pretty happy with that. Clean that up and give it a weld. Should last much longer. Nothing impressive to look at, but it's a lot better than a whole heap of melted nylon braid. That'll do, let that cool down, good to go. Rightio, next up I'm going to wrap up all these manifolds. I won't bore you with the details because that does not make for good watching. This time I'm going to have a crack at wetting it. Did it all dry last time, gave me the itches. Spend most of my days crawling around in roofs and insulation and stuff, so it shouldn't be too unfamiliar. But I'll see if it goes on a bit better this time. I bought a little roll, didn't really go far there, but it'll do for a start. We'll get into it. There we go, she's all done. Looks a bit like that kid's arm from school with the chalky bones, everyone knew. There's always one. There we go, got all my parts all wrapped up. Just time to throw it all back together and see what difference that makes. Rightio, so while I'm waiting for the alternator to get done, I might as well rip the diff out and install the locker. So I've got my locker ready to go. Got a whole roll of locker over here, do a few diffs. Because nothing makes you look like a goose faster than ripping a big single pegger. So we'll weld her up and sand it. Rightio. See the locker installed in there. Slim to no chance of those spider gears going around by themselves. So should make that whole centre a complete unit. Good to go. Ooh. She's hot. Rightio, brand new alternator in there. We'll see how this one goes. I've got to put my tongue tester on there and check the current drawer and everything, but I have a feeling it was just a second-hand one that was in there. I have a feeling it might have been more temperature related than anything else. But anyway, live and learn. So one of my issues I had was one thing the computer does, and it should do in the tune, is the inlet air temperature sensors in the inlet pipe. Obviously, if it's starting to get hot because you're working it too hard, it starts pulling timing based on that. So, and then what happens is if it keeps pulling timing, that makes the exhaust hotter because it's trying to burn the fuel pretty much in the exhaust, which stupidly and obviously I've got my air cleaner under the bonnet currently, so as soon as that's getting hotter, it's going back in, sucking in here, going around and just making it worse and worse. So it just tries to melt itself down. So anyway, what was always going to happen, what I've got to hurry up and do, is I'm going to make an air box here, put the snorkel out through there and get some nice fresh air at least in there that way. But anyway, I snuck up the bush yesterday, but this wasn't ready yet, so had to take that bloody thing. As you can imagine, the wife was devastated, but got up there, had a quick night, so now she's back, diff's all welded up, so hopefully this thing will see the bush very soon, because that's all anyone wants to see. So we're gonna get it up there. I can't wait. It's a bit of an update, not the update I wanted to give you, but it's the way it tends to go, especially when you're doing things yourself and trying to learn it along the way. You bit in the arse a fair few times and learn lessons the hard way. I was just going to put a water temp sender bodge one into the head to get the gauge on the dash working. Needed a bit of room, so I thought I'd better pull a rocket cover off, get myself a bit of room. And what did I find? A big pile of shrapnel down inside there. Got multiple broken valve springs, both sides. Luckily it's got double valve springs in there, but I'm not sure why just yet. The springs that I used were just double ones that were on a cheap set of Chinese heads, I think they were originally, that I had from way back when I first started off with it all. So yeah, I've put them on, but who knows the quality of them. And then also my push rod length checking might have been a bit average as well. So back to the drawing board, gonna pull it all down. I was hoping to head bush this weekend. I was making plans to go play around. Everything was running smick. It was all idle and beautiful. It was all happy days. Had all the heat things under control. Pipes weren't melting anymore. No snorkel just yet. I'm still working on that, but stupid COVID, it's a bit hard to get parts. So yeah, anyway, I will tear this down and see what I find. We're all stripped down. Heads all off. No damage to the pistons, so that's awesome. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to find. building things myself, I'm always paranoid. Every time I open up an engine or something, I expect to see big valve crash marks in the pistons and scores in the bores and who knows what else. But everything looks good, apart from my valve springs and an unknown amount of metal everywhere it shouldn't be. Anyway, pull the valley plate off. Cam looks like it's all pretty happy. Not that you can see the whole lot at the moment, but I'll have a bit better look all around everywhere. Make sure everything's as it should be. Hopefully this is a quick, easy one. Back in business, start ripping some skids, because that's what it's all about. I'll pull the lifter trays out and have a bit better look. Check the lifters out, because of things like that. If that's sitting there, who knows what's where you can't see it. That's nasty. So yeah, pull the lifters out, check all them too, might as well. Silly not to. A genuine GM lifters, which I got with that Crow cam. It was the only way I could get them at the time, because you can't get them anywhere else. Ooh, some quality China spring. A bit of a worry. Well, we shall see. Keep digging. Righto, so I've had a bit of a tear down. Just trying to go through everything and work out what actually is damaged and what isn't. Obviously the valve springs are gone. Valve stem seals have just turned to junk. Bits of spring and God knows what else everywhere. All sorts of bloody crud in here. God, I don't even know what that's off. But anyway, yeah, just trying to sort it out. I found a few other issues while I've been pulling things apart. A couple of cooked plug leads. That first timing map I had in it wasn't ideal. Now I've got it apart, I'm going to wrap that driver's side header, but I haven't done that yet. So I'll be able to do that. Yeah, pretty sure the issue was what we had to do. The springs I had were off a set of cheap heads that I'd got. I think they were Pro Comp ones or whatever. I didn't know what the springs were. They were just on it when I got it, double springs. We had to put some shims under it to get enough, I think it was seat pressure, and they were supposedly had enough travel, but apparently not. The push rods that I had in there, I put standard push rods in it, which is 7.4 long. I've measured it with my checker, and I think what I've worked out is I need 7.35 inches long. So as you can see, it's only a bee's dick difference. But yeah, so without enough travel in the springs, that bee's dick is just enough to cause me a few issues. I think they've just bound up and just collapsed. So anyway, got all that pulled apart. We'll get into it. I've had a bit of a look underneath here. I'm hoping I've got to pull a couple of caps off in a minute and have a bit of a look. Make sure the bearings are all good. I get paranoid from doing things myself, and you hear a noise and you think, oh, that's it, it's rod knocking or whatever, but don't think it was. It's always had perfect oil pressure. Everything kind of looks pretty good. I haven't pulled the oil pump and that off because I've got to pull absolutely everything out to do it. It's a pain in the ass. If I can get away with it, I'll just check it out, make sure they're all good, put it all back together and see how we go. I'm just jumping into a bit of fabrication while I'm at it. Got another head that I stuffed last time. Folded that back on. I'm just going to start making up a bit of an airbox. So it's going to be a combined airbox and catch can in one side. So it's going to have a clear lid go over the top. I finally got hold of a 5-inch silicon 45, even though it turns out it's not 45 degrees. Bugger, but I'll try and make that work, and then I've got to adapt the snorkel into the side of it. Got some AN fittings I'm going to put on there, clear lid on there, maybe a breather in between that and the air filled up. The catch can doesn't breathe heavy at all, this one, motor, not at this point anyway, so plenty of volume. Don't think I'm going to have any issue with fumes from that, so that'll be good. But yeah, pushing on. I was hoping to be out the bush, wheeling around, having a great time. Hopefully next weekend I'll have everything back together. Got a new set of BTR springs coming from Wallspeed. Got some 7.35 inch push rods on order. They hadn't come in just yet, so I'll still be waiting on them. A couple of new guides to get put into the heads before I can put all that back together. New GM LS head gaskets, MLS head gaskets, can't go wrong with them. So I'll just tidy all this up, do a bit more fab, try and pump it out and get something exciting happen for next weekend. I'm keen as to try this thing actually in the mud, and as you can probably hear, it's raining, so there's going to be plenty of mud around. So that's where I'm at. We'll keep you updated. Alright, thanks for watching. Give us a like and a subscribe. Hopefully next weekend I'll get out the bush and we get to see how this thing actually goes off-road. So see you next time.